Welcome to the Credit Union Business News Podcast, the only all-digital, all-business resource for credit unions. This episode is sponsored by Bator Training and Consulting. We create environments where employees actually want to come to work and members want to keep coming back. Hi, I'm your host for the Credit Union Business News Podcast, Kbator, and I had a great conversation with an old client, an old colleague, and an old friend. Definitely not old, just known her for quite a while. And her name is Becky Landis. She's the CEO of State Highway Patrol Federal Credit Union in Columbus, Ohio. And I wanted to do a quick intro before we get to the actual interview because she makes such an excellent point and gives a perfect example of what I talk about quite a bit in terms of branding and brand associations. So I'm going to make a little comment at the end of our interview, and I hope you'll stick around for that as well. Here's the interview. We have another wonderful guest today. We have Becky Landis, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the State Highway Patrol Federal Credit Union in Columbus, Ohio, a role that she's had for at least 11 years, and I've known her for almost, I think, all of those 11 years. Becky, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
It's all our pleasure, and I know you're going to give us a lot of insights. In fact, the first insight that I want to get into is that you're celebrating your 60th year in business, and there's so many credit unions out there that are merging or struggling to grow. And here your institution is healthy, it's viable, and it's viable while concentrating on a very special and specific niche. Tell us a little bit about how you build brand loyalty as you have within your specific field of membership.
Well, I think having a strong brand loyalty, it can be challenging, but I think it needs to be consistent and ever-growing and ever-changing. Our marketing strategy is a big part of it. Target marketing, consistent social media presence, of course, always great member service, offering some type of value to your membership that your membership would really appreciate. And we strive to keep it simple, but in your face type marketing. Because as you know, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, exactly. And your niche is really almost a niche within a niche. You don't just simply serve police officers. You serve a specific niche of state highway patrol men and women throughout the state of Ohio. Yeah, so you really have to be specific on what's important to them. What message is really going to resonate with them. Is that a good way of putting it?
Yes, absolutely. Like you said, we're a closed seg. We're not open to the public. We have a very unique membership, and you have to understand what their needs are. Anytime that we do a product presentation or launching a new service, is that a specific need or want that's going to fit our membership that may not meet another membership's needs or wants?
Right, exactly. As I often talk about in branding, a lot of times, any financial institution, whether it's credit union, bank, or other, a checking account is a checking account, a loan is a loan. There's not too many nuances on it. But where the real brand differentiation comes is not necessarily in the features and benefits of the product, but the fact that you know this specific audience and connect with this specific group better than anybody else possibly could.
A good example of that is that, like you said, a loan is a loan, and you can play with the rate, you can market it different ways. But there's a couple different things that we do when it comes to a loan specifically. We offer a life insurance policy to troopers that unfortunately may lose their life in the line of duty. So we offer a life insurance policy that would pay off their loans up to like $850,000 that they would have here at the credit union on any loan here at the credit union if they're killed in the line of duty. Now, you're not going to find that, at the big bank on the corner. They're not going to offer that. And we actually paid for that policy out of this credit union. It cost the member nothing.
Yeah, that's It's a great point of differentiation in my work with the Police Officers Credit Union Association. I know that killed in the line of duty insurance is only available, basically right now through your credit union and a few other police credit unions
Right.
that are part of the POCUA. There are number of non-POCUA credit unions that are so-called police credit unions that aren't offering that. So that's an excellent point, especially for law enforcement out there. But let's switch gears a little bit, especially on another subject of branding. One of the main reasons why I wanted to have you on this show is you've come up with a new tagline that really celebrates your 60th year celebration. And that tagline is "Come on home." And I know you have a really interesting story behind that phrase. Please share it with our audience.
Well, I don't know how interesting it is, but it's how I came up with it. The board.
It was interesting to me, so it has to be interesting to everybody, right, Becky?
I have no problem sharing this story. I've shared it multiple times now, and I get excited about it when I'm sharing it. So if I tend to ramble, I'm not sorry, because I'm really excited about it. The board gave me a goal to find something or develop a program to grow our membership. And I looked at all different types of relationship pricing programs and reward programs, but it just didn't seem to fit what I was looking for. And I really, to be honest with you, wasn't real sure what I was looking for. I read a lot of articles and blogs about member growth and what you can do, but again, none of them seemed to resonate with me and what I wanted to offer our members. I'm a wife of a retired police officer. We've been married 40 years. I raised 3 children. Thank you. I raised 3 children, and now I'm on this side of the desk. The advantage is I get it. I truly get it. I know what our members' needs are because I've been there. I've been in their shoes. I know what life looks like to them and their families. One evening, I was driving home from work, and I call this my thinking time because I don't listen to the radio. I really do. I mean, in the mornings and the evenings, that's my thinking time. Mm-hmm. And as I pulled in my driveway to my home, which we've only lived there about 4 years now, it's pretty much our last home, I think, that we're going to buy, I think. And I call it my happy place. It hit me. My members and their families, at the end of the day, all they want to do is go home. They want to feel safe. They want trust, and they want comfort. And I was trying to find a way that I can encapsulate that feeling of that you have when you go home at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And that's where I came up with the tagline of "Come on home." I wanted to invite our members and new potential members to come on home.
Yeah, that great story and great tie-in to the whole idea of branding, because it really does have a double meaning, as you alluded to. You want the credit union, because the credit union isn't just any other financial institution. You own it. It should feel like home. As I've heard from a number of other credit union CEOs that serve a really specific niche, whether it's law enforcement or firefighters or healthcare workers or teachers, that those folks should feel safe and open to talking to the people there because they know them. They're kind of like one of you. So that coming home has that double meaning of that's the feel of the branded experience that you want at the credit union, coupled with the obvious law enforcement phrase of one of your most important jobs is to be able to go home in one piece and safely at the end of your shift. Now, a word from our sponsor, Bator Training and Consulting. When it comes to sales training, do you force a process onto your employees, or is your staff part of the process of creating a unique business development process that aligns with your unique brand, culture, and strategy of your credit union? Obviously, given our tagline, creating environments where employees actually want to come to work and members want to keep coming back, we believe in creating a process from the ground up, not just stamping old 90s level sales training onto our employees and hope that they actually do roll out those tactics on a daily basis. At Better Training and Consulting, we implement the B+C+S process. where we actually look at the brand, culture, and strategy of your credit union and take your frontline employees through a process of creating a process, a unique business development process for your credit union, rather than just old tactics that have been used at institutions for time after time that, sometimes they work and sometimes they just burn out your employees. So if you want to create a true, unique, branded process of business development and not just sales tactics for your credit union, talk to me, Kbator, at 714-681-2821 or at Kbator, B-A-T-O-R, at btcinc.net, and we'll talk about creating a unique business development process at your credit union. One that not only produces results, but also increases the morale at your unique institution.
We don't have a whole lot of foot traffic here at our credit union because we do so much electronically. But when you walk into our lobby, the lobby of my credit union has couches and chairs with pillows that say, "Come on home." We have a beverage center that offers coffee and water. Again, trying to encapsulate that feeling that this is home. We want you to feel comfortable here.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have had the pleasure, although I haven't seen the come on home pillows yet. Maybe later this year I will. But I had the pleasure of seeing your headquarters right around the time or shortly thereafter when it first opened, and I know it was pretty comfortable. I wanted to move in and just kind of live there for a little while, but I think you would have frowned on that.
I can only take you for so long.
Yeah, that's what all of my guests say. That's why we try to keep this show under an hour. I won't even edit that out. How's that? But you kind of alluded to, and I know that your credit union truly celebrates the heritage and the history of the Ohio State Highway Patrol. Yeah, tell us a little bit more about that and how that plays a real important role in the branding of your organization.
Oh, our members are very fraternal. They're very deep in loyalty and tradition. We are constantly looking for new ways to deliver value to our members. We pride ourselves in this particular credit union to being a no service charge credit union. And we work pretty hard to give back to our members in any way that we can. We're present at all the Ohio State Highway Patrol events and functions, and word of mouth it carries a lot of weight in our membership. We're a closed seg, single seg credit union, and those testimonies of our satisfied members, what they share about their experience, can be very powerful.
Yeah, exactly. Well, especially having been to the great state of Ohio a number of times, I know it's not a small state, and you cover that entire region. And obviously, you don't have 15, 16 branches all over the place in order to serve these brave guys and gals. Yeah, I would assume that word of mouth, as these folks are literally traveling, really is a big part of your growth and your branded message.
Sure, you're doing the right thing for your members, because they come back. We are doing the right thing. We're always doing the right thing. We're always looking to for their benefit, for the benefit of the credit union, but more importantly, the benefit of the membership.
Right, exactly. So what can we look forward to for the next 60 years, or at least the next 60 weeks, if we're not looking that far out?
Gosh, I really have to think about that for a second. I mean, because this is such a monumental year for us. I mean, 60 years this credit union's been in existence. I always want to look forward, but I always want to appreciate what has got us here, the successes that has got us to 60 years, and to be such a great credit union, and financially sound and wonderful members. So it's the moving forward part. Always looking for better, for more, something different. Because what served our members 10 years ago even is not appropriate for today, or not something that they want today. That's 10 years is not that long of a span. So it's that constantly moving forward, looking for what else can we do? Because the moment you stop doing that and sit back on your laurels and just let things slide, you become stagnant.
Now, I agree with you 100%, and I appreciate that in your answer, it talked about the products and services and in essence the growth in that niche, and not the knee-jerk reaction of we need X number of assets or we need to go community or anything like that, because that would take away from an amazing brand that you have and that you played such a huge part in building.
If I could just share one other thing that this particular
Please.
credit union does for our members. We have a foundation of sorts. It's called our Member Outreach Fund that we started, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, where the board actually puts money on it on a line item in the budget. And we give this money out all year long to our members in need. There's different situations where we may have a trooper that's injured and we buy a hotel room for the family to spend the night. If he's hospitalized, he or she is hospitalized. One year we had a mother who works for the patrol. She works in the civilian side, and she was a single parent with 4 children, and one of the children was disabled and needed a motorized wheelchair. Well, this insurance paid for it, but it did not pay for the deductible of that mobile wheelchair. It was $563. She was a single parent with 4 children. She didn't have $563.
Right.
So the Member Outreach paid that $563. That's the type of thing that this foundation does. So again, it's just one of those things that our credit unions can do that some other large bank may not be able to do that for their customers. These are our members.
Yeah.
They're
Great.
our family.
Yep. A great example. I think that one of the things that fortunately I still see quite a bit, but sometimes some credit unions have lost this whole core of people helping people. That whether we're serving police officers, whether we're serving healthcare workers, teachers, or the community, that this whole industry, some will call it a movement, is all based on this concept of people helping people. And if we can get back to that, yeah, that's more than just branding and strategy and culture building. That really is at our core and really is a litmus test of some of the things that we're doing.
Yes, it is. I mean, and it feels good to be able to give back to your membership that way in any way that you can. But in that in particular, there's other things that we do too. I mean, we give out scholarships, every year, and but the Come On Home program, that one, that's a special one for me.
Yeah, I could tell it is, and the fact that it's genuine is why it's such a great brand messaging. Thank you for being a great guest, and thank you for spending some time with us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
So the point that I really wanted to drive home is in this industry, I see a lot of branding that's based on the credit union movement first. And much like I said in an article that I wrote for Credit Union Business News, back in 2017, March of 2017, so almost 3 years ago, and it was titled The Batting Order of Brand Associations. And I talk specifically how, unfortunately, consumers don't really care that you're a credit union. So why do we want to lead in our branding with the credit union difference? Because that isn't a huge enough differentiator to make members, or in many cases prospective members, really take a look at you. They want something that's important to them. And what Becky talked about is exactly what I discuss in that particular article and talk about quite a bit in presentations and speaking and so forth, is that you really need to lead with your uniqueness and why you're different. Because at the end of the day, a checking account is a checking account, a loan is a loan. But much like Becky pointed out, what's really unique is the feeling, is the care, is the passion that they have and she has for their specific niche, which happens to be law enforcement. So whether you're a healthcare credit union, a teacher's credit union, a firefighter's credit union, you tap into the uniqueness of, we know this particular group better than anybody else. that will be a much better brand differentiation for you, especially as a leadoff hitter, as I mentioned in my article, than talking about the credit union difference first. There certainly is a positive brand association and a lot of pride that you should have in being a credit union, but it's not your top differentiator. And also for community credit unions, the ones that I've really seen do well, they find a way to tap into that specific niche and that unique culture in their particular community, town, region, county, even state, whatever that is. They find that uniqueness. And then after making that connection, they talk about products and services and how they could be of benefit and value. So thank you for spending a little bit of time with us today on the Credit Union Business News Podcast. Certainly hope that you enjoyed the discussion with Becky Landis as much as I did. And for any of those folks who are still waiting around here and still watching or listening this particular episode of the Credit Union Business News Podcast, if anybody would like a copy of the article that I mentioned, the batting order of brand associations from March 2017 in the Credit Union Business Magazine, please feel free to just simply email me at Kbator, Bator, at btcinc.net, and I'll be happy to send you a PDF of that particular article. Thanks again, and I hope you're enjoying the Credit Union Business News Podcast. Take care. Learn more about Credit Union Business News at creditunionbusiness.com. Suggestions for the Credit Union Business News Podcast can be directed to Tim O'Hara at tim@cubusiness.com or Ken Bator at Kbator, Bator, at btcinc.net. To learn more about this episode's sponsor, please go to btcinc.net.